Welcome into this episode of Coach's Corner. Jordan Woodruff with you. Good to have you along. This episode brought to you by P66, and we're joined by Mike Montano, which has a couple of dual roles, especially this time of year, doing some strength and conditioning, but also with football. And man, it's a busy time for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a grind. It's busy, but it's a good time.
Yeah, I was going to say it goes by fast, right?
Yeah. Once you get in the rhythm of doing stuff and you got your schedule set, you know what I mean, it gets easier.
Yeah, and what's the most challenging thing when you have you're focusing a lot on football naturally because of what you do there as a defensive line coach, but then you're also the strength and conditioning. You have to, look at all sports.
Yeah.
So what's it like on a typical day for you?
It's difficult to kind of juggle because everybody has have similar workouts. But they have different workouts if you understand what I'm saying. Like, I try to do half the male athletes do squat on one day, and the other half do bench press. That way we aren't using all the same things, and like their auxiliaries might be different depending on their sport. So making sure they're getting coached up well and they're not getting neglected, and staying busy, walking around and taking care of those kids.
Yeah, and let's look at the football aspect of strength and conditioning. It's constantly we hear the words bigger, faster, stronger. That's what you're always trying to accomplish. But things do change a little bit once you get in season. You want to maintain, but also there's stuff you can do that can help with injuries and much more. So talk about what it is once you transition which was a few weeks ago when football season started, and that means practice, and what you're trying to accomplish now compared to what you're trying to accomplish during the summer.
Well, for sure, you got to lower the volume. Just the amount of work they have to do in there needs to be lowered, and we have a day set aside, 2 days set aside really for mobility stuff. We break it up, we do a lower body half mobility today, and then we do an upper body half mobility today, and it helps them kind of heal it before the games. But, because on top of that, you're practicing 2 hours a day, and, you're banging and clanging in there. And so the volume itself, during summertime, we were doing, 3 sets of 8, 3 sets of 5, stuff like that. Right now they're doing 3 sets of 3 and moderate weight, nothing crazy. So, and focusing on moving stuff fast and moving it with good technique and good range of motion. And we always have some type of prehab type thing built into their workout. So at the end, they always have some type of, shoulder, neck, hips, knees, all that good stuff built into it. But yeah, it's definitely different because the goals are different, you know what I mean? And kids can get beat up pretty quick during the football season, as well as you know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt about that. And when you look at kind of what you're doing with strength and conditioning, talk about how far it's come in just recent years. And I think one of the big things is we're starting to understand the science and nutrition and hydration and all this part of it. That's really made a big jump instead of just going to the weight room like it maybe was 20 years ago.
Yeah, there's so many resources out there that that you can get. The big thing for me is kind of like what you said. There's the guys that do all the research, they got it down to a science pretty much, like you said. It's simple things too, like eating enough calories to give yourself yourself the fuel to work out, and also drinking enough water so you know what I mean. The more water you drink, the better you're going to perform regardless of what you're doing. The more clear-headed and, body operates better when you got that. And also on top of that, just talking to them about, not just drinking just straight water. Like you need your salts and your electrolytes, you need your potassium, magnesium, all that, and helping them understand that, and then also helping them to understand that there are reasons why we do certain things. You know what I mean? You you're not going to grind for 8 weeks doing heavy weight. You know what I mean? So you got to have a reset there every once in a while, and I think we're doing a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, and what is the educational factor to it? Because like I said, I think it's always important when somebody understands why they're doing it, and you mentioned it right there. When you hear that why, this is why you're doing this is why we're doing it at this point, this is why we're doing it on this day, that's a lot of the job too, is getting those kids that understand why, because if they do, they're going to perform better, and they understand what you're doing when you're trying to push them like you are.
Yeah, I mean, going to the exercises and them understanding why we're doing this exercises. You know what I mean? Like unilateral exercise, why do we do those? You know what I mean? Well, a lot of you guys play sports that, you got to deal with one leg, type movements and change direction and plyometrics and understanding how that applies to your sport itself. Yeah, I mean, them learning why is a big reason for them it helps them to understand, well, this is going to make me better as a basketball player. We're doing these band-assisted pogos. We're doing these band-resisted pogos. We're doing depth drops, depth jumps, and how it applies to their sport and how they need to do it proficiently to make themselves better at whatever aspect of the game they're trying to get better, whether you want to jump higher, run faster, or just change direction better,
Yeah, well, and another thing, some kids, they love the weight room. like they want to be in there all the time. It's almost like, hey, you need to get out of here sometimes.
Yeah.
There's other kids that don't like the weight room.
Yeah.
And I always find that a strength and conditioning coach has a challenge of trying to, put together and try to make, not only the kids that love the weight room, telling them you can't overdo it, but also telling the kids that maybe don't like it, making sure they get in there and doing what they need to stay healthy and strong.
Yeah, and I think that helps a lot with, me and Amy being in there. Because, we kind of monitor each other's athletes, even, we stay on them pretty well. But, like, you said, you always got those kids that don't think it works. And you can pull up all the examples. You can pull up Kobe Bryant, you can pull up Michael Jordan, you can pull up Messi. And you can pull up the best players from all of the sports. And they don't quite understand, that those guys do that.
Yeah.
Or those girls do that, you know what I mean? To be the best they can be, and it helps them perform. But to be honest with you, most of the kids come in and they work. I mean, there's not a lot of them that just hide from the work anymore, because they understand that's the standard. You know what I mean? Regardless of who's in there with you, me or Coach Amy, or if we're both in there with you, the standard's the standard. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I haven't heard of any kids not showing up and working hard, to be honest with you, which is a plus to me and a plus to Amy, you know what I mean? Same thing with her. Like, we got 2 different planning periods, and so when we got kids, you know what I mean? I'll tell her if they're not working hard, and she tell me, but there hasn't been much discussion about that stuff.
That's awesome. Well, and another thing, how important is it for kids to be open with you guys? So it's like, hey, you lift that day, I'm a little sore here, or I'm not able to move this as well. Sometimes kids can be a little hesitant to say anything because they don't want to disappoint you, right?
Yeah.
Or disappoint themselves even. So how important is it for them? Do you tell them, hey, be open with us so we know what's going on?
Well, I think, I mean, I always tell the kids, we don't know what's going on in your body. We're not you. You got to tell us. We don't know how you feel. You might be beat up. You know what I mean. You might feel tired, and you need to let us know. And we try to accommodate to that. You know what I mean, the best we can. I'll use this as an example. Like, I think Monday, I had a wrestler come up to me, and he's like, he goes, I was way stronger in the summertime. I feel like I'm getting weaker. Well, you got to put in effect, are you eating enough? Are you sleeping enough? Are you drinking enough water? You're practicing 2 hours a day on top of that, you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah, it's certainly so. And I think it's important. I talk to all the coaches about being open and being able, the athletes being able to tell you stuff so you can help them out. I want to transition a little bit into football talk. We get, defensive line's kind of what you're looking at, those maulers up front and that 3-man front. So it's been a non-district, had a tough schedule. Enid, pretty good team this year overall. Played a really good Lawton Mac team last week. You're kind of in the frying pan, out of the fire into the frying pan with the defending state champs this week at Muskogee.
Yeah.
But what have you seen out there from your defensive line that you're happy about so far?
I just like I talk about it all the time. I got a good group. It's always fun when your kids lead themselves, and all you got to do is coach. It's always fun. So my group, they got a lot of grit, and they got a lot of determination. So they show up every day, they work, they don't complain. regardless of what we're doing. The upperclassmen like HD and those guys, they help the underclassmen, Noah, they help them with stuff, and that's always nice to see, because that hasn't always been that way. You got the upperclassmen that'll help the lower classmen in drills and say, hey, you're not doing this right, you're not stepping with the right foot, your hand needs to be here, and
well, teaching sometimes the best way to get better too.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I mean is. They kind of lead themselves. I just, coach them, and it's a fun group. I mean, they play hard all the time. I don't have to get on about that, but you know what I mean. I can't say enough good enough stuff about them. You know what I mean. I love those kids.
Yeah, I know you love them. That's for sure. Anything else before we let you go, man? About the state of the strength and conditioning program? Anything new that may be coming down the line, or anything like that before we let you go?
There might be some stuff in the works. We're working to always improve our stuff. I mean, regardless of what it is, you know what I mean? Whether it's what we got in the weight room or, helping to improve with certain, sports, or helping other coaches with other things and stuff like that. There's always something in the works. Me and Amy, we got a lot of stuff we'd like to do and to help, the strength conditioning program as a whole.
Yeah, which helps athletics as a whole.
Yeah, so... there's a lot of stuff like we implemented, we've implemented, like I said, we got mobility days for football, but like even on Friday, we got a mobility day for everybody.
Yeah.
So like, you can never not be too mobile. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
You gotta be mobile. If you're going to be an athlete, you need to be mobile. You need to be, you know what I'm saying?
I'm pretty sure being an athlete requires you to move a little bit.
Yeah, you gotta be flexible and,
right.
And all that decreases injuries, you know what I'm saying? So, we always got something going, you know what I mean? And we're always talking about better ways to help our program, which, like you said, will help the other programs.
Well, and it's ever changing. This stuff just constantly new science, new things, new technology that you guys can all incorporate as well.
Oh, for sure. There's a lot of stuff. I talk to Gabe all the time.
Yeah.
Gabe comes down and he was talking like last week. He's like, we had to do tempo pause squats, and they gauged how fast we move the bar. And I was like, I'd love to get that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now it's on paper. You know what I'm saying? And you can show the kids why. You know what I mean? Like, if this kid does this and you do this, this is the reason why this kid can do this, and you're having trouble with that. You know what I mean? It's the reason why you don't have a 36-inch vertical, and this kid does. So. There's always something in the frying pan, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, Coach, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Coach Mike Montano. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Coach's Corner. It's been brought to you by P66. Until next time, Jordan Woodruff saying so long, and go Cats.
Yes, sir.